The narcissist needed you blaming yourself. Think about that for a minute. So blame, this is something the narcissist dishes out, but they won't take. The narcissist will also blame shift, and they will also throw anybody under the bus who they deem to have something called supply, and anyone who gets too close to them. You see, the narcissist is a manipulator. They are a master manipulator. They're also a dark energy source. And they're slithering all through this planet trying to find things that are called supply. You were, to the narcissist, what was known as supply. You are not supply. You're a beautiful, bright, shining light. And my hope is you're out of the relationship. You've healed or you are healing. And the blame is no longer yours. My hope is you've shed the blame. You understand that this wasn't your fault. That yes, in fact, you were targeted. And that the person that you're considering, they dumped all of their toxicity, every bit of their toxicity into you, and they stole the goodness right out from underneath you. Now, there are many things that I've talked about over the years in videos, one of which is this. You are the polar opposite of the person you're thinking about. In the past, you may have thought that you two were two peas in a pod and you were going to conquer the world together and grow old and get married and raise kids and kumbaya on the white picket fence and all that. I understand. I thought the same thing. Truth is the person that you're considering, they looked at you and saw the opportunity that was presented to them in you. And once they figured out that you would be the person who they would do their best to trap, to trick, to manipulate, and to enter that relationship for a period of time, once they knew that, it was game, set, match. It was a huge advantage for the person you're thinking about. Now, you also need to remember that that person, they're not authentic. They're not genuine. They are callous, they're cowards, they're hollow, they're shallow, they're bullies. Now, I've been saying that for years and years. All these messages are beginning to click with you. They're all beginning to make more and more sense to you, because the more you watch and the more you pay attention and the more you understand that what I'm sharing with you, coupled with your real life experience, that equals wisdom, the more you realize that, the more you'll realize that everything you've ever wanted is within you. It's not within another person. It's not within a relationship. It's not within a quote unquote finding your soulmate or the yin to your yang or the person that completes you. Many of us from years gone by, older generations, I will say, we were taught that. The Walt Disney-esque movies, Cinderella, Snow White, Seven Dwarfs, all of these white picket fence things, the Prince Charming. We thought that that's how life would be. Well, shame on you, Walt Disney. That's not reality. Reality is that there are toxic people everywhere. And yes, they were shown in your films from years ago, but they were presented in a different fashion. The truth of the matter is, I understand that Walt Disney was making films, cartoons, if you will, animation, because back then we didn't have technology. We certainly didn't have the wisdom. We didn't have AI, and we did not have a fresh mindset. So back then, most of us, and for a lot of this, I wasn't even alive way back when, they were all consuming the same content. Think about what I'm sharing with you. What is content? Content is social media platforms. It's me creating this video. It's whatever you're scrolling on, watching and reading. It's YouTube, it's IG, it's X, and on and on and on. Well, none of those things existed 50, 80 years ago. So your average human being, no matter what country you lived in, but I'm referencing the United States, although it's not exclusive to the US, most people were consuming and reading the same newspapers and reading the same Reader's Digest and reading the same or watching the same news every night at 6 o'clock. Remember those days? Well, that was essentially being brainwashed. Now you may think, whoa, where did that come from? Well, think about what I'm sharing. What does the narcissist do? They brainwash. What does the narcissist do? They keep going around in a cycle. What does the narcissist do? They blame you. Now, I'm going to tie this all together and I'm going to really do the deep dive. And this video will be about 12, 14 minutes. When you understand that where you were when you were with the relationship was not as bad as you thought it was 1,000 times worse. It was life-threatening, it was debilitating, it was challenging, it was taxing, and you were trapped in an invisible circumstance, if you will, energy field. A bubble of toxicity was swarmed all around you that no one could see. You could feel it, you couldn't touch it, but you knew something was wrong. The person you're considering, they knew exactly what they had done. They had lathered up so many people before you, and even when you were with them, and trapped as many people in the trauma bond or the narcissistic fog, or devalued them, or peppered them with abuse, whatever they did, used, abused, manipulated, wash, rinse, repeat, rinse, wash, repeat, whatever that is. it was old hat to them. It was nothing new. But for you, this was your first experience. And my hope is it's your last experience with toxicity. But you didn't know what back then, what you know now. The person you're thinking about, they knew everything. They knew how it was going to play out. They knew how it would unfold. They knew when to discard you. They knew when to extract money from you. They knew when to be at your house. They knew when to hang up on you, triangulate you. They knew when to blame you, ghost you, gaslight you, give the silent treatment, and on and on and on. You didn't know any of that. You had no idea because you were trying to fix an unfixable relationship from hell. Now you understand an awful lot. You understand probably as much, if not more, now than you did 2 minutes ago, because you're getting the wisdom and you're applying the tools. And why I'm sharing all these things are the narcissist needs people blaming themselves, because the narcissist cannot accept the responsibility for their poor actions, their poor behaviors, their mannerisms, their lying, their cheating, their stealing, their misrepresenting, their dishonesty, and their toxicity. What the narcissist is beginning to realize, and I will touch on this again, and I've shared it for months, is that they have fewer and fewer places to slither off to anymore. They have fewer places to hide. They have fewer avenues or streams of supply that they can tap into. And the narcissist, whether they are in their 20s all the way up to over 100 years old, they are scrambling because they have burned out so many people, many of which are not existing or living any longer, many of which are. Many were discarded in the last couple months. Many were discarded years ago. Many have yet to be discarded. Those people, and I'm one of them, had no idea what they were in for. Didn't realize that they entered a relationship with a predator, with a toxic person, with an apex, AI-esque, hollow, shallow hologram of a creature called the narcissist. We didn't know that. Now we do. And then keep in mind also, as I'm creating videos and you're keeping your cup full, you're getting stronger and stronger, and more people are watching you change, and many people have seen me change, and many people are now putting up boundaries, whereas in the past they didn't even know what a boundary was. Many people are trusting their instincts and intuition, and they're paying attention to red flags, and they have a one-strike rule. As we are doing that, there are billions, with a B, of people who don't even know what narcissism is. And they've been affected by it, maybe on a smaller level, but many of those people will be affected on a macro level. As a matter of fact, they all will. They just don't know it yet, which is why I create videos. Because of that group of people, that bucket of people, they need the wisdom. Although they didn't go through the cycle like you did or I did, they need to understand that if they're being blamed for something, it's not their fault. They can't fix the economy. They can't create jobs for the masses. They can only do so much. They can only do what power they have or what control they have, which is why I shared in so many videos over the years, we all need to control what we can't control. We need to stay in the present moment. We need to not think about things that we have no control over. We need to take the lifelong learning lessons from the past, shed the blame that the narcissist dumped on us, not predict the future because no one's guaranteed to be here tomorrow, and we need to live in the present moment. That's something the narcissist can't do. The narcissist exists for the moment, which is why they change any which way the wind blows. When something better comes along, they're gone, and they don't care at all about anybody but themselves and what they do. You live in the present moment, the way I live in the present moment, which means you embrace each and every second of your life. And I do mean second. So notice right now behind me, there is beautiful green foliage, and the wind was rustling a few moments ago. Now it's slowed down so I could speak here. But this is beautiful. This is called abundance. This is called the mountaintop of indifference. And if you're not there yet, you will be. Continue to focus on yourself, but shed the blame. You were one of many cogs in a wheel of abuse that the narcissist had spinning around and around and around. And they wanted each and every one of those people becoming the unpaid helper, the walking apology, the person blaming themselves, the sounding board, the regulator. And they wanted all those people to give access to the narcissist. So the narcissist didn't have to lift a finger to do anything for themselves, but yet they had all these indentured servants doing everything for them. Well, all the other people, that most of which you will never have met, and you shouldn't even want to know who they are, because they were other supply sources, probably from dating apps, social media, or people you were never introduced to. Basically, other people who were being manipulated and fooled, or they were toxic themselves. All those people, what they are beginning to see, or perhaps not see, but what they may be understanding, is that they will be taking the blame on. And if you remove the blame from yourself and from all of what the narcissist tried to dump onto you, that blame has to go somewhere. And when you don't accept it, where does it go? It goes back to the narcissist and they have to dish it out or dump it off elsewhere. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, again, I don't want anyone to be taking on any negativity, toxicity, certainly not blame of another person. But when you are a real, true blue empath, like I am, and most likely you are too, you've been blamed and guilted and shamed, and you felt horrible about very simple, trite, simple, easy things because that was part of your upbringing. I'm going to fast forward it all here to today, and then I'll close the video. You need to understand what you were taught in the past years ago. Some of it applies, a lot of it doesn't. You need to become sovereign. You need to become independent. You need to not drink the Kool-Aid of the masses. You need to not consume what everyone else is consuming. You need to carve your own path, and you need to not have the sheep mentality. Remember, the narcissist essentially is a wolf in sheep's clothing. You were one of the sheep with everyone else. I was too, I can say that. And you know you were, because I was. We're not sheep anymore, and we stay away from the wolves. We are now elevating, ascending, growing, changing, and accelerating our healing path to get to that mountaintop of indifference. And we don't accept blame from anybody. If we make mistakes, of course, we own them and we atone for them, or we account for them, and we don't want to duplicate or replicate them, and then we move forward. That's why we are growing. The person you're considering, they're not growing. All they're doing is contemplating, they're scheming, they're conniving, they're planning, they're plotting. They are trying to figure out where the next target's going to pop up from. They're trying to figure out where the next person is going to be that will put a roof over their head, or the next person that will make them look good, be arm candy, or introduce them to all the fancy people at the country club, or give them money, etc. That's what these people do. That's why, as I shared the video in the beginning to open it up, and I'll illustrate it and I'll close it, you're the polar opposite of the person you're considering. The person you're considering is a user, a taker, a manipulator, a thief, a criminal, a coward, a bully, shallow, hollow. They're AI-esque, and there's nothing to them. They just mimic and copy and steal. You are a beautiful, bright, shining light. You shine higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars, and everything in between, and you were targeted. You're not going to be targeted any longer, and even if you were to be targeted, you'll be able to pick it up like that, and you will say, no mas, I am out. I'm not oversharing information. I'm not engaging. I'm not communicating. I'm done. I've seen this rodeo before. I want nothing to do with it. That's why you need to maintain your boundaries. You need to keep coming back to the channel. You need to post comments like so many of you all over the globe. I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for paying it forward and continuing to help the community grow, and understanding that, yes, in fact, you are the priority. You come first, second, and third, and there's no room in your life for toxicity now, tomorrow, or in the future. You have been to hell and back just like myself. You made it out in one piece and you've healed, or you're healing. You're a remarkable human being. You are stronger than you know. You need to believe in yourself the way I believe in you. Continue to focus on yourself. Continue to control what you can control, and continue to heal. Maintain your boundaries and shed the blame, shed the toxicity, and don't ever, and I mean ever, ever entertain entering any type of communication at all with toxicity. Don't ever do it. It will never improve you or your circumstances. The blame games are over. It all gets ping-ponged or boomeranged back to the narcissist, and they know it, because their sham, their Ponzi scheme, and their house of cards crumbled and it fell apart like it always does. What's the narcissist going to have to do now? They're going to have to rebuild and look for a new place, a new house of cards to build on a foundation of quicksand with a different person. And that's why they are doomed to continue to repeat the cycles, continue to repeat the patterns, and continue to blame anybody but themselves. I love you all. I'll talk with you tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves. I almost closed the video a little different. I love you all. I love doing the video. I hope you liked it. I love doing it. From the beautiful Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. And I fumbled that part at the end because if you noticed in the beginning of my videos, I shaved off about 20 seconds of introducing myself, etc., to get right to the point to save time for everybody. So this is why I am putting some things at the end of the video. And I will share this one more time for this week. I have some openings for one-on-one sessions, coaching sessions, if you will, with me. If you're interested, drop an email at narcdailyvideos@gmail.com. That's narcdailyvideos@gmail.com. And again, I am very interested, extremely interested in hearing what you have to say. Drop comments and continue to pay it forward. Remember, we all at one point were the new supply. We are not supply. We are beautiful, bright, shining lights. I love you all. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.